Zverev kept coming forward, kept taking away time and space. Have a look where Andy is. He's still in defense, right? No matter what situation happens here, he has to be very lucky to win a point. Very lucky. All you've got to do in tennis is beat the person at the other end. It doesn't matter how you play. It doesn't matter how they play. If you play crap and they play crapper, you're probably going to win the match. So it's a really interesting sport where you're trying to beat someone at the other end. And I really feel like, as coaches, as players, the strategy gets a little bit looked over, and it's more about the technique and how I hit and how I play, and did I play well, did I not play well, and I think we've got to look past that and beyond that and get a bit more depth in our strategy thinking. And I've got a bit of an example today, which I know I've spoken to you about a few times, Connor, but when I do some commentary at the Australian Open, this was one match that I commentated. It was a serve and volley versus a counterpuncher, and I'll take the names out of it for a minute, and I'm going to show you some vision, but and how a serve volley broke down a counterpuncher, and what maybe the counterpuncher could have done differently to be able to win the match. So it's a match between Mischa Zverev, who was a serve and volleyer, against Andy Murray, and what I'll do is I'll flick to the screen. All right, so basically what I want to look at is Mischa Zverev is down this end of the court in the orange shorts, and Andy Murray's at the far end. So what we're looking at is a serve and volleyer in Zverev versus Andy Murray, who's more of a counterpuncher and one of the best counterpunchers ever to play the game. And the one thing that you'll notice is the fact that the serve and volleyer wants to take court space and wants to be the offensive player the whole time. And Andy Murray wants to control the back of the court. He wants the game to be lateral. He wants longer points. He wants to draw the game out as long as possible, whereas Zverev wants short, sharp points. He wants to be able to close it out as quick as he can and take control. So if we watch here, so the first point that we watch here, you'll see the serve and volleyer in Mischa Zverev getting close to the net. And basically what you see now is he takes away Andy's ability to defend into space. He takes away the space by coming forward to the net. So basically for Andy to win a point, he's got to go past or over the top of Zverev. Zverev comes in and takes away space. So again, like I said, there's only three spaces to go, past him or over him. All right. So it's important to understand that as a serve and volleyer, your job is to take away court space and make sure you dictate the point from the front half of the court. And if you're the counterpuncher, you're trying to keep the opponent back and enable the game to be played lateral. And again, what you see is Zverev is at the net, and you've got Andy Murray defending, and trying to stay in the point. He wants to try and stay in the point, Very, very hard to win a point when you're in defense the whole time. Okay, so counterpunchers are great advocates of keeping the rally longer, moving the ball around the court, drawing out long points, wearing you down, keeping you out there as long as possible, and forcing you into error because you end up being impatient. Andy Murray's the absolute genius at that and has built a career based on that. Zverev's tactic was, there's no way I'm going to get caught in your style of game. I'll be returning and I still want to come to the net. And this is the way that he played the whole match. It was he wasn't allowing Andy to draw these points out in the way that he wanted to do. This day it was actually 37 degrees in Celsius. It was a really hot day. Centre court, Rod Laver Arena at the Australian Open, second round I think it was. And it was a really, really challenging situation for both players to be in. But Zverev played it extremely well. The serve and volleyer wants to be aggressive, wants to take the court, wants to come forward no matter what. Even there he was trying to serve and volley. He wants to get in. He's taking away the defensive space again. You can see there's nothing for Andy to play. He has to go past him. To win a point, he's got to go past him or over him, right? And the only way he can get a chance is if, like that, he gets a real cheap volley from Zverev. So again, we'll see another point. Zverev serves. He just wants to come in. He wants to take away all your time and space, okay? Andy has to play a really, really good point to win every point. Otherwise, it's really challenging. He's trying to lengthen the points out here. He wants a longer point. He's staying back. Zverev's up at the net, okay? Even when Andy wins points, it's still in a defensive situation. Very, very hard to win a match when you're constantly running side to side, when you're constantly in defense, and your opponent is constantly in offense. Right, it's a really challenging situation to be in. And the whole match went like this. Andy wins the second set, takes this point here. and like wins the set. But again, you look at the set score and it's 7-5, right? It's really hard for him to win an easy set in these conditions, right? And the same thing, the same trends happened throughout the match. Zverev kept coming forward, kept taking away time and space. Have a look where Andy is. He's still in defense, right? No matter what situation happens here, he has to be very lucky to win a point. Very lucky. Right, return comes in. Andy comes in this time, right? Now, Andy does not want to be there. Now, some of these highlights don't show the fact that every time that Zverev was caught back on the baseline, he played a short ball, very, very similar to what he just played then. So he does this one. He plays a short slice and draws Andy into the net. Why? Andy doesn't want to be there. It's the last place Andy wants to be. And Zverev uses that to be able to then still shorten the point up and go past him on the next one, right? So it's important to note that everything that Zverev wanted to do was shorten the points. He comes forward, takes away time and space. Very hard to win when you're in defense if you're Andy Murray. Much easier to win in offense if you're Misha Zverev. Take the court space. And it's just over and over again. It's relentless pressure coming forward to the net. It's a very hard place to be beaten if you're Misha Zverev. Even here, like he gets caught and such an awkward point from Zverev. He's just trying to throw his racket at everything. But he's wanting to take court space, and you can see where he's returning from. He's coming in, he's taking court space, taking away time and space no matter what. Tennis is a game of time and space. And I think the biggest thing to note is no matter what kind of game style you are, if you're being dictated to in terms of the court space, in terms of your court position, it's very, very hard to win when in defense. Okay, so obviously great serve. We're going to look past that. Okay, we look here. Again, serve and volley. Andy's in defense. Misha's in offense. Very hard to win a point when you're in defense. No matter how good you are, and Andy Murray is one of the greatest players of all time at counterpunching, it is very hard for him to win when he is constantly defending. And I think when I started to write the book, Connor, around different styles of game and beating opponents, it's really simple to try and break players down. If you're playing a counterpuncher who likes to play a lateral game, which is side to side across the baseline, he or she likes to lengthen the points, play as longer points as possible, keep you out there as long as they can, and force you to make really poor decisions and make error before you do, then you need to change that and reverse that. Make the game shorter, make it linear. You come to the net, don't give them defensive space. It's literally the opposite to what they want to do. Now, yes, there are differences in like different players that have a different style of counterpunching, might be more offensive than Andy Murray, but the concepts are the same. Those players want to lengthen out the points. They want to play lateral. They want width in the game. They'll stay really steady on their serve and not give you too many looks at their second serve. And I think you have to be willing to play a bit riskier, play more linear, take them away from what they want to do and force them into a game that they don't want to play, right? And that is part of strategy. So in the book, what we've done is we've broken down every game style and what they want to do. And then what we've done is we've shown the opposite of, well, if they want this, don't give them that, but try and do this to take away what they want to do. So I think it's important that strategy becomes a massive part of teaching. If I'm a coach, it becomes a massive part of learning if I'm a player. And parents can actually help their kids by giving them the formula that we've put together to be able to say, it's a counterpuncher. This is how you identify a counterpuncher. Here's the way they want to play, and here's what you need to do. And if you can understand the basics of that, then you've got a strategy to move forward. And I'll give you one analogy, Connor, before you've got a question, because I know that you've got questions for me all the time. But I call the brain like a Google Maps example. So if I wanted to find my way around, and you're in Sweden at the moment, Connor, I know you're living the life and living the dream, but if you want to find somewhere in Sweden to go, you get your phone, you type in the destination on Google Maps, and it gives you directions to get there, right? Whether you're walking, whether you're driving, you can find anything. It's no different to a tennis player planning for a match. You punch in the destination in your head, which is win. We know we want to win, but that's the destination. What we now need is the directions to win. So what we've done in the book is been able to give directions to winning more matches against more different players that you might not have played before, or players that you don't know how to beat. And we need to punch a direction into the brain to give it those exact landmarks to reach to be able to execute wins. Now, the brain knows it wants to win. It's built around protecting us around failure. So once you get into matches and you don't have a plan, the brain's going to start to go into overload, and we're going to panic and we're going to lose more matches than we win. By having strategy, what you're doing is you're calming the brain down to be able to make better decisions and to have more direction when you play a match, as opposed to just trying to beat a player with you either playing well or them playing well, or them playing worse or you playing better. We can't rely on who plays better to win. We have got to rely on a strategy to be able to beat someone. And I think that is why I'm so passionate about this area of the game, is because it is like a game of chess, and I think we need to treat it like that.